Welcome to the Truth Mafia podcast. You are rocking with Tommy Truthful, and we are going to get into black goo in this nanotechnology connected to the anti.
Good evening. Tonight on Truth Mafia, we delve into the occult meanings concealed within the Alien franchise, specifically Prometheus and its ties to mythology, nanotechnology, black goo, the Antichrist, and more. In the depths of this modern masterpiece lies a web of enigmatic connections. The Promethean legend, where the creation of man and the theft of fire intertwine, takes center stage in Prometheus. But there's more to this sinister puzzle. The menacing black goo, a nanotechnological substance with the potential to bring about a nightmarish apocalypse of self-replicating machines. Could humanity's destruction be lurking in its dark depths? Biblical allusions and symbolism abound, hinting at a terrifying truth. From the engineers' godlike status to their mysterious intentions for mankind, the Antichrist looms large within these films. Ancient Sumerian mythology echoes in the tale of the xenomorph, a cosmic abomination born from forbidden knowledge. It resonates with the Anunnaki and their fabled genetic manipulations. Tonight we invite you to join us on this perilous journey. Tommy Truthful and Paranoid American are here, ready to navigate the occult depths. Together we'll uncover the truth that has been hidden from us for far too long. So, prepare to dive into a labyrinth of darkness and intrigue. This is Truth Mafia, where conspiracy meets reality.
That intro is so hard, bro.
I love it, man.
I love it, bro. So today, guys, I'm interviewing my boy and brother in truth, Paranoid American. What's up, bro?
What's up, Joe?
Oh, you got your little glasses on?
Yeah, well, I turned 40 this week, so now I gotta wear glasses, apparently.
Oh, yeah, them are cool, though. They kind of look real as shit. Are they real?
They're real. No, they're real. That's not a filter.
Oh, I thought it was a filter. I'm tripping.
No, these are real, man. I can't. The AI was in the intro only. I promise I'm not AI right now.
Yeah, well, people think you are, so prepare for that. I
mean, I can't prove I'm not. So
I told him no. I just got really fat. I'm not a. Yeah, I seen someone in the comments say, "Oh yeah, Tommy's really a female." The shit they come up with just makes me laugh, bro. But anyway, so today, before we get going, I want to touch on a few topics real quick, brother. Now, because there's something weird going on. Okay, so let me show you guys this. Right now is this strawberry moon. All right, now. You know how the occult likes to use these astrological alignments. They do these rituals on certain ley lines and energy points. So I found this very interesting that strawberry moon equals 696, matching deep state actors and power grid attack. Why does that matter? Well, remember Joe Biden? He's trending right now. If you go on truthmafia.com, you'll see the video where he just got accused of 696 sexual assault charges. And Satanic Communion is 696. China nukes the U.S. is 696. And if you remember, on September 11th of 2020, Fox News ran a game simulation of World War III showing the west coast of the United States and Canada being occupied by China. And
they love that date, man. They love that date more than I love Christmas.
They definitely do, brother. And so, okay. In the movie The Matrix, there are several people that wake up from the system. They learn to read the hidden code of green letters and numbers of the Matrix. This is not just a movie. We too have the hidden code behind everything as well. It's known as Gematria. This goes back to Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah. You know, they've been practicing this since Babylon and Sumeria, back to the Anunnaki, the Watchers. And look, this story was trending 2 days ago. Go figure. Imminent catastrophe. Power grid attack on United States could kill 300 million people. And look what the article had in it, China. So, you know what I'm saying? This is 2 days ago, bro. And then they're
setting the cast.
Yep,
they're letting you know who all the main players are going to be. These are like the movie trailers that tell you who the main, you know, like that China's going to be the evil villain in the upcoming movie, essentially.
Yep. It is like a movie. You're so right, brother. It is like just like a freaking movie. And you know, with this whole black goo stuff and this nanotechnology,
yes,
I mean, they're going to be able to do mind control on a whole nother level, bro, because they can infiltrate where these little nanobots, if you look into more gallons and what that is, and the chemtrails they're spraying over our head, and these nanobots that can get inside of us and start literally splicing and replicating our DNA, rewriting our genome. And they also have these little government mosquitoes and insect drones guided by DARPA, right? So it can leave a little RFID tracking nano technology on your skin, which really it's not like a chip. It's the black goo programmable matter, the third strand DNA, which I've talked about so many times. Is you know, it's that's going to be the microchip, right? They want to add 3 strands of 22 to our 44 base pairs of DNA. Now, the first case of Rona was on November 18th of 2019. That's the 322nd day of the year. And Wuhan, China had the first 322, you know, cases of that situation. So, and it reminds me of that skull, or what is it, Genesis 3:22, when they become like gods and take from the tree of life. Remember that verse?
Mm-hmm. Yep, and the order of death here we're talking about too.
The reflection of 322 is 223, which is in the movie Prometheus. Break that down for him, Paranoid American.
Well, we got one reference to Leviticus, I believe, it's 22:3, and I got a couple of slides that I'll pop open as we get into that more, actually, because I got a whole bunch of different Leviticus quotes that come up from the movie at different segments. Because there's also a moon that they go to, and I think that's LV 425 or something. I've got a whole bunch of notes on it, man. I'm excited to get into it.
Okay, yeah. Do you want to what was that? What was that Bible verse that was in the intro? You included in the intro. And guys, make sure you go to paranoidamerican.com if you need any artwork done. This guy is freaking amazing. You know, you can go over there, buy a little comic book for your kids, connect the dots, chemtrails. Why not educate the children? You know what I'm saying? Why are
that's got Morgellons in it too. We break down the concept of Morgellons in the chemtrails children's book. So it's full of all kinds of fun surprises.
He's got all kinds of cool stuff. He does a lot of oops, it's not really showing me. You got anything you can show him there? My screen is terrible because I got that background.
Always, man. This is the one that you're talking about now. This is the Connect the Dots, the Confounding Conspiracy of Chemtrails. It's over 40 pages of fully illustrated art. It's a legit children's book, but it's cool, got the entire background of how chemtrails have been defined as an exotic chemical weapons system within the United States government documentation, how it's linked to Morgellons disease, how it's linked to climate control, all sorts of information on like ozone, truth and facts. It even talks about nanobots. It's all in this book. So this is actually a perfect one for this episode that we're talking about. And then what else? I got this one that's coming up at nasacomic.com, Never a Straight Answer, about Stanley Kubrick directing the moon landings. No one's seen this yet. This has been just in my possession, but I'm just waiting to drop it when I got enough people signed up. So I got so many, man. I want to just take up. I've got the Paranoid American History 101s, over 88 pages, 8 different stories, 8 different artists and writers. And this one's got a Iran-Contra scandal. It talks about the War of the Worlds, the Rockefellers' involvement in that. Talks about the JFK assassination. Yo, microphones are popping out of hands. This is so fire. And this is a secret mystery
microphone
school.
check.
What is this? I got time samplers. Yeah, man, I got so many, and I think my biggest one is this the MK Ultra pamphlet at mkultracomic.com, and I'm working on one with your homeboy Juan.
That one's really cheap. It's how much is that one, bro?
This one's about $5 shipped. It's $4 plus $1 shipping and handling to most places, and it breaks down the whole history of MK Ultra.
And the cool thing about it, you know, it's something to collect, guys. It's something that you can have at your home to collect. And you know, he's part of the crew, part of the Truth Mafia. So he does all my intros and artwork, and he's just amazing. I really
big things, man. We're going to be doing some bigger stuff. And then we got the Occult Book Club, too, that I do with Juan, where we break down all kinds of old alchemical books and from like the early 20th
He's down
century.
in Miami right now.
He's making a Miami homunculus.
Yeah, I tried to get him on today with us. I said, "Hey Juan, what are you doing?" He's down in Miami making anal homunculi. That's he loves that right now. That's all he talks about. Anal homunculus. I'm like, what in the hell is that? That's what they get into. Now. So whatever.
Well, so let me. I'll start with my screen.
But,
and we'll jump over to yours.
Yeah. It is, bro. Okay, you want me to share? You can share it, and I can approve it. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. I'm an old man now, so it takes me longer to do technology-related things. There we go.
Oh, I get it. Did you see Beyonce's stage, bro?
It takes me like a year to catch up on like whatever's coming out in the media. So no, I haven't seen it yet. I usually watch the conspiracy breakdowns first. So I'm gonna dive in on some of this.
Portal, a freaking.
Oh, this is the Royal Arch that I've seen Donut.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, bro. Right? Yeah, Donut Soup, guys, but really support his website, donutfactory.com, and make sure you're going over to his Rumble, because they took his backup YouTube down, ruined all of his Patreons. He had to re-put up all of his videos, but now it's good. He's got everything back up on Patreon and new stuff. He started a new show on Patreon, too, where he's doing call-ins. So if you are a member on Patreon, you get to call in. It's pretty cool. And me and him are doing a weekly podcast for our private members, you know. So we got so much stuff we got coming. We got this mixtape we're doing, the truth tapes. Yeah, I'm definitely really excited. So let me add your thing. Prometheus.
Okay, we got it now. And I think there's a small delay between us now. It's growing and growing a little bit. So forgive any little pauses or as I'm waiting to hear you respond to something.
It's not on my end. I hear you in real time. That's so bizarre, but they're probably trying to censor.
So Prometheus, this is a movie I saw when it first came out, and I didn't pick up on a lot of it. And I found out because you hit me up and you showed me these deleted scenes from the Blu-ray. And when I saw those and rewatched the movie with everything in mind, it made so much more sense. And one of those reviews is really good. We'll give them a call out when I get to some of those screens later. But essentially, this is a movie in the Alien series, and it kind of predates the Alien movies, as I understand. So this kind of like comes before all of this. And I wanted to point out first too that there's inevitable link in pop culture with Aleister Crowley almost 100% of the time when it comes to science fiction or horror, especially when it gets as far enough as like a blockbuster movie like Prometheus. And one of those is that H.R. Geiger, who is the one that influenced a lot of the original Aliens artwork, he was fascinated by Aleister Crowley. And this is actually a painting that he did that was called The Beast 666 from 1975 with work 274. Tommy, you could probably break down some of these numbers, but he actually referenced this as his interest in Aleister Crowley. It kind of resulted in this little amalgamation, and you can see some of the interest. And then this guy right here on the left, he looks like a deacon, and the deacon is what we're actually going to call this god alien in the Prometheus movie. So I wanted to see if you had anything on these numbers, because I don't do the same math as you always.
Well, 274 off rip is 13. You know, 13 represents the rebellion of Lucifer, the 13 bloodlines. And dude, that is the most demonic shit I ever seen. Look at that little demon baby. Like, bro, you know, these people that paint artwork like this, they are really messing with interdimensional entities. I'm tired of fighting with people like, I don't care if you call it an alien, a demon. Me, I think I lean way more towards the demonic, but I think that's what they are. But you know, everybody has their own opinions. A lot of people think they're coming to save us, bro. And I believe the elites are working with them for technology, because they're giving them all this advanced technology, but it's forbidden knowledge. We ain't supposed to have it. Just like you said in the intro, that's what they made an abomination from forbidden knowledge, you know, fallen angelic knowledge, this xenomorph. Hey, I after this, I'll show you a slide. Remember when they walk in that room in Prometheus with all the tubes of black goo?
Yeah, that's where they've got like the artificial god's blood.
Yes, and did you see on the wall, bro? I found this. Check this out.
So that's the deacon. This is the deacon that I was mentioning. That was a reference to that, I think, in a vague way, that character by H.R. Geiger, inspired by Aleister Crowley. So they're basically saying in this movie that God's blood, because on that little pedestal is where they had a little cup of his blood that got switched out in the theatrical version for a green crystal. But this is supposed to show you the source of the god blood, and that was the deacon, or as you labeled it here, the queen. That was God's blood.
Yep. I couldn't believe that when I seen it, because you can't, it's hard to see in the movie. I kept trying to see what the hell is that thing, you know, but yeah, it's well,
the behind the scenes made a good point, and they said that some of the edits happened because the story that they were portraying here, which is way deeper than the theatrical release, it deviated a little bit too much from people that just wanted to go and see an aliens movie. So they cut some of the things that were a little bit, I guess, outside of what aliens, you know, fan fiction was expecting. But it kind of stomped all over some of the original message, I think, that was trying to get into the movie.
Yeah, like in the beginning when the engineer drinks the black goo and then falls into the water, and it looks like a bunch of things. I think that's how humans were born from that, is what I'm thinking. Is that what that scene's showing? Because right after he falls in with the water.
So in the original, the non-theatrical scene version of that, if you look in the trailer and some of, I think I've got some of them pulled up eventually, but basically that was the God's blood, the original one, when the human was on the waterfall. And it could have been any planet, but you can assume that that's Earth or an Earth-like planet. So he gets to the edge of this waterfall. He drinks this God's blood, which was the blood of that deacon creature. And then he jumps off the waterfall, and then it just kind of disintegrates his body. It changes his DNA. And then that changed DNA eventually turns into every form of life that inhabits that planet. You fast forward, you know, millions of years, billions of years. Now you got fish and people and dogs and cats, right? That's essentially where it started. But that was the last bit of the true God's blood. That was the last amount they had. So then when you go onto the alien ship out onto the moon, you find that black goo in those little urns. Well, that black goo was the engineers' sort of artificial intelligence attempt at trying to make their own God's blood, but they weren't able to successfully make it because the God's blood in the beginning, it's almost got like a gold caviar look to it, but the black goo, that's kind of like what I see as nanobots or symbiote or anything you want to call them, like a smart swarm. That's essentially just like a very high advanced, almost biomechanical version of the nanobots that we kind of envision in modern day.
Oh no, yeah, no doubt. In that opening scene, if you watch the uncut version, he goes there, and then he's a younger, that older dude. It's like a ritual going on. You know what I'm saying? So there's a bunch of them back there, not just the one. They show you just the one though.
So in the theatrical version, you only see this dude on the right. You don't get any of this this voiceover. And basically what the old guy on the left is supposed to be hundreds of thousands of years old. So we're talking about a serious ancient. So that also answers some of the questions as to like how long were these guys sleeping on these planets and how long do they go dormant for? Well, if they're used to living hundreds and thousands of years, it definitely would far outlast any sort of human evolution, just in like their normal generations. So that's the old dude passing off to the young guy. And they're talking about how the gift was stripped from them. The gift is the gift of reproduction. So they turned to technology and relied on it so much that their bodies just, their dicks fell off, basically. They couldn't make kids anymore.
Gave up on sexuality. They forgot how to create life organically. In the story there, in the warning, is about technology. That's what they're trying to get us to do now. Merge with technology, where they can control with this whole CRISPR, they can control what is born, who is born, what genetic bloodlines get to be born. Yep, right there. This is the blood of our Lord.
And this is the goal one at the very beginning of the movie.
That was a good breakdown of it, wasn't it, bro? That video I gave you?
It points out what they cut and left on the cutting room floor, and it just makes you wonder, right? How many movies have these more blatant symbols that they're kind of revealing, and then it gets at some part in the process. And I don't know if it was a creative thing, or was it like a Kubrick cut where they're like, no, you're not allowed to say that because that's forbidden knowledge. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that doesn't make it out and just explain it away as a creative edit. It's really hard to sort of determine the difference between those two. And actually my personal philosophy is almost like, if you can't tell the difference between malice and incompetence, then they're the same thing. It doesn't matter if you're trying to screw people over and hide knowledge, or if you did it accidentally. If the end result's the same, it's kind of the same sin in my eyes.
No, I agree with you, bro. I agree with you 100%. And I think a lot of people are, they're being tricked into this. And some of them, a lot of these young kids, man, they are going to want to merge with technology because they're going to be told, oh yeah, you'll be able to live longer. You can live 150, 200 years. You'll have no diseases. You can jump higher if you want to play basketball, whatever. There's going to be so many benefits to it that a lot of them will do it. But the problem is, I believe it takes the soul away. You know what I mean?
I think I'm not a complete Luddite, you know what I mean? Like I've embraced AI and technology, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I think humans are the bad ones. And honestly, this is where this whole name of Prometheus kind of comes up, because Prometheus gives humanity fire, but humanity uses that fire for not just sustenance, but they use it to destroy and to make weapons and to kill each other through this fire. So it's this blessing and a curse, right? Like you can harness fire and you can use it only for good in this ideal nonsensical world, which doesn't exist that we know of. You know what I mean? So the same exact thing applies to technology, where we could just easily take technology and use it for just truth and love and justice, right? But
no, I agree
it doesn't get used for just that.
No, and they're tapped into something. Because look, dude, if we were using technology and we were tapped into fractal energy, because the source is fractal in nature. So if you go back and look before the mud floods, before Tartaria, everything was set up on a wireless grid. You know what I'm saying? And then boom, they do these resets, and right around the early 1900s is when they changed everything up, bro. That was the mass rollout of the electric grid, and it was at the same time the Spanish flu came out. It's called electromagnetic frequency sickness. When we had the free energy grid, that type of energy vibrates with our DNA. It doesn't hurt us. This dirty energy in this 5G bullshit, it breaks down the DNA. So it just depends how you use it, like you said, what you're using it for. We could all be having free energy. They just don't want that because they can't make money off that shit. You know what I'm saying? So I believe,
and more than the money, but the control. Because if you could harness your own energy wherever you were at, then you wouldn't need a state. Essentially, like when it comes down to human necessity, right? After you've got a place to sleep and you've got food to eat, and you basically you've got, you know, shelter and nourishment covered, electricity in the modern times is almost like another human need. And if you were able to just tap it naturally out of the earth, then there's almost no control that the state has over you anymore.
no, you're right. It is about control too. It just blows my mind that they, like, we could be living so much better. But I think we're getting ready to go through a reset again. And tomorrow at 3:30, guys, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, me and Donut will interview Archaics. And the first time I interviewed him, I forgot to ask him so many things, dude, because I want to ask him about this global reset. And he thinks like what Nibiru is in this Phoenix event. He believes it's technology, and it's some type of like factory reset technology, and he believes there's a race of entities underground that have been controlling it. And every so often when we start to wake up or whatever, you know, he believes it's every 138 years, which there's something up with that number. Monkeypox happened on the 138th day of the year, and then USA tsunamis 138. There's a lot of codes with natural disasters with that 138. But he said the last one, the next one's coming in 2040, and that'll be the return of the, what's he call it? Vapor canopy. You know, the vapor canopy, this is when giants were here and they were able to grow bigger people. We lived for a longer time. Have you ever heard about Tartaria?
Oh yeah, of course, man.
So
I'm not 100% sold on Tartaria, but I get more and more every day because there's a number of people that I respect their opinions beyond others, and they're wholeheartedly into Tartaria. I'm not big on the world fairs and the plaster of Paris stuff, but when you start talking about the ancient technology, like, I'm all in.
Yeah, the fairs, like, come on, man. That's I think people that share that are just dumb, or they'll share some dude riding in a bike wheel. It looks stupid as shit and say, look at this ancient technology. No, I'm talking about the real shit, the free energy. And it was all to suppress Russia because it was a Russian empire. And I'm not talking about Tartaria as an empire. I'm talking about the resets of it.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? And the technology that goes back.
So we're talking about Mu, we're talking about Atlantean technology, Tartarian technology. Yeah. Anything that's kind of like ancient levitation, magnetism, energy. And I kind of believe, I think this Prometheus brings up some good points and some of the analysis I read of it. And I guess ultimately, if these guys live hundreds of thousands of years and it takes generations of them to figure out how well humanity's doing, and they decide at some point that it's not going well and they need to do a reset, right? That's essentially what the black goo is. It's the ultimate reset for the entire planet, just saying like, hey, let's scrub this and wipe it clean and see what happens on the next iteration, right? It's like a chemist in a laboratory that just throws out the petri dish and starts up a new one, or uses that culture to start a new one. Or I think even a better analogy would be like if you were a farmer, you don't just take like some bad fruit or some bad vegetation and just throw it out on the side of the road. You would compost it, right, and feed it right back into the soil, because that like failed first attempt becomes the nutrients for the second or third or fourth attempt. So that's kind of what this premise, I think, of Prometheus is that they want to go and just dissolve Earth back down to strands of DNA again and let it, you know, give it a second try.
Yeah, man. And with that black goose shit, it's like anything it touches, it literally turns it evil, you know, because they didn't have the recipe I don't even know about the real recipe if it was good, but definitely the shit they made up was all bad. Before I forget, it's connected to the Kraken in third strand DNA, like I was saying. So if you guys go on truthmafia.com, type in the search bar, they released the Kraken. It's a video my son did, and he shows all the connections in movies with the Kraken. He shows on the news where they nicknamed the new variant the Kraken, and the first place that had it outside of Wuhan was Seattle, China. Or I said Seattle, China. First place out of China.
Well.
Yeah, might as well be Seattle, China. Was Seattle. And what's their flag? They got a Kraken flag. So this release of the Kraken has to do with this black gill and the Barcelona game world them Barcelona games that was in 1992. They do a little show that shows this big Rona ball coming out with spikes out of it, and it has all these disembodied souls inside of it. So they've been planning this for quite a long time. And if you really understand the whole plan, it goes, see, it's happening right with the rollout of the 5G. Who rolled it out first? Wuhan, China. And it's because it's part of their smart grid. It's part of their smart cities, the smart cars, the smart house, to where they want us to be linked with this technology. And if you're religious, I'm not a Bible thumper or nothing, but I do believe in the Creator. And I think this is whatever you want to call this fallen angelic entity, Lucifer, Satan, Saturn, Kronos, whatever. It's
Prometheus.
him, Prometheus, right? It's this parasitic entity. We can call him Yaldabaoth, the worm, and I'll get into nano worms and Illuminati worms here in a second and blow your mind. But I think it's that entity that has hijacked everything that we're in, and it like put an AI overlay to the real simulation. You know what I'm saying? Hijacked it all and wants us to be plugged into it because it's harvesting our soul, our life force. It's harvesting that loose energy. Why it tries to keep us on the lower vibration, tries to keep us in fear. It's all about that frequency and that energy. And a lot of these people running the world right now, they have been taken over by what they call these walk-ins or these others. And Yaldabaoth, if you look at the DNA, you see it's exactly like the worm. They call him the worm, guys. Yaldabaoth, right? He's called the worm. Now, these others, this goes back to the Philadelphia experiment, and they broke the veil. It allowed these entities to come in when they did that experiment. So they're called walk-ins, right? This parasitic disembodied spirits, because we live in this organic simulation that's controlled by the creator, the source consciousness, and then this hijack AI overlay that's plugged into hell, Saturn, Satan, whatever you want to call it. CERN, that's where the internet started. Then they come with the D-Wave computer. It's everything we're online with now is all plugged into CERN, all getting fed into that Saturn computer. So once these entities get in, they spread themselves out across all points of history. In being outside of time themselves, they control the men like pawns on a chessboard. And if you follow the trajectory, that would all lead up to the Philadelphia experiment, which was the entry point in the first place. That's the time loop. That's where the AI, what I was calling the overlay, that's where it happened. And it's from this dying race that their world throughout the multiverse already met its end, right? It already came to its end. And they developed more of the reptilian cortex. So I'm not saying the reptilians are self, but there's some type of a disembodied spirit, just like we see in Dark City. Soul Mason, he talks about it. He says, so what these disembodied spirits do is possess human vessels, and their task is to populate the earth with their population. That's where we see all the shapeshift and shit. Because of the choice they made in their existence, they evolved into what we could call a reptile, intelligent but too instinctual. They overdeveloped the reptilian cortex, and the whole reptilian narrative could be a giant metaphor for the fact these others developed this reptilian part of their brain, right? And we see it in Stranger Things, guys. If you remember Stranger Things, in season 3, episode 2, we finally catch a glimpse of these others. So let me turn off this banner real quick. Hold on 1 second. So
I want to say you're dead on here too, because the Philadelphia experiment and those claims about making a rift in like the time-space continuum almost and bringing a monster back out, I think that was outlined in a book series called the Montauk Project, and they talk about how that happened at Camp Hero, and they had something called the God Share that they would strap into, and if you were like a highly advanced psychically, or if you could astral project already and you sat into this God Share, you could do what 11 does in the show, where she can go and find, I think it was in the first season, she finds like a Russian general somewhere, and he's like in a dark hallway, and then as soon as they see each other, they're like, we got him. But the fact that he can see her, also like the monster ends up seeing her, and then the monster follows them back into the real world and creates the upside down. That's essentially the story that's told in the Montauk Project, where he's recounting what they consider a factual experience. And then Stranger Things, I believe it originally was going to be called the Montauk Project or something along those lines. They ended up changing it to Stranger Things.
Yep, no, you're 100% right on that. So the others, taking the same form as the victim, says that they want him, the walk-ins, to build what they see. That is, carry out their agenda, their overlay. They want to get the AI hive net fully wrapped throughout the human organism, a kind of RFID chip nightmare, remotely programmable slaves. The show Black Mirror discloses just about every horrid potential that we will have to maneuver as this kind of tech becomes more available, which we're seeing it now, right? And it's all connected to these entities, man, these others, these interdimensional entities. And the nanotech, the Morgellon equals 666, the mark of the beast, this type of technology. Archon is 666, bro. That's, you know what the Archons are.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about the other movie that talks about giants and doing huge resets, which is Noah, and that's kind of like showing archons.
Yeah, that was a good one too. And what I believe is the normal matrix is normal. It's fine. Saturn does its job. It puts us to the test. It teaches us, gives us limitations. The matrix is Mother Earth. It's also Source, the creator. That's all good. That we're here to learn. But they have hijacked it. That's the problem. They've hijacked it with this technology. And something I'll really show you that'll blow your mind. So again, the nano worms being 666. Why did Amazon share this terms of services with the whole zombie shit? There's a lot with zombie connected to this too, because that's what they want to have. The Walking Dead, bro. They want to control these people and have them literally dumbed down. The CDC released the zombie preparedness. It went viral on March 4th of 2021, which zombie is 34. Okay. And then getting into this ritual that they're doing where it's called soul scraping, or they call it several different things, but I've always called it soul scraping. And this is why we see the one eye black goo bleeding. What they do is some people believe it's a nano worm. My boy Ani breaks it down. He says that they take a piece of meat and put it on this hexagram, do some ritual, and the meat starts to rot, and these worms grow inside of it, and they have this archonic consciousness, and that's what they're putting in the eye to wrap around the optic nerve. That's Ani's opinion on it. Mine, I believe it's technology. You know what I'm saying? That it's a way to transfer consciousness from one host to another. It goes in, wraps around the optic nerve, taking over the host. And if that body dies, they use that technology, boom, transfer it to another entity. Have you ever seen about this paranoid American with the bruised eyes?
This has come up a few times, and I always like to point out that if they used to give people adrenaline drops to put into their eye for a number of different reasons, but what would happen is that adrenaline in your eye breaks down and turns into adrenochrome, and the adrenochrome continues to break down until it just completely turns into a pure black pigment, and they call this black cornea. And this is where people can actually start getting true pure black dots all over their eyes. And I felt like there was probably a connection in here somewhere to all that.
It probably is, and they probably want to take us down for I don't care. I say adrenochrome all the time. It's funny that these other channels, they can say it and get monetized and that, but certain other people say it, they take our channels down, which reminds me, guys, the links in the description will give you all my links. Okay. They just took down my YouTube family, my big one on 6/2. So that's the 4th YouTube in 2023. If I wasn't telling you guys the truth, they wouldn't be going out of the way to take my accounts down. The new YouTube is Truthful TV 369. Take 2 seconds out, click the link, Truthful TV 369, and go subscribe. Hit the bell, hit all notifications, because this censorship shit is getting ridiculous. Now, another,
I'll call it pizza sauce next time too.
No, you're fine. I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter. They won't mess with me on Facebook because I have an open lawsuit against them right now. The Vril worm equals 86, guys. 1986 is when they came out with that vaccine law for children. Remember the 1986 vaccine laws, which you think it helped the kids, but guess what? No, it took so they couldn't be held accountable. That's what the law did. Now, Vril worm is 86, Jesuit 86, 5G, sorcery, and Nephilim, and clone and voodoo. And what is Stranger Things 4? What year is it in Stranger Things 4? 86. There's a big thing going on right now with the whole 86 number. But where's just some more on the whole one eye symbolism. And once droned, they would become a cadaver as they die, and their body gets used by this parasite, used as a pawn in their agenda. So once this pact was made between the Jesuit and the Vril, of course, they would be more apt to infiltrating the government and institutions, as they have to do is kidnap and drone the right people with influence. So, they've been doing this for a long infiltrated. That's my opinion. And let's take a look at the worms. Zombies, 34 again, Control 34 Serpent, and The Last of Us, guys. Okay, here's a very interesting thing. The Last of Us came out, from the pandemic, which it was declared on March 11th, until the release of The Last of Us was 34 months. 34 months and 4 days to be exact, which 4 is a number of death, and 34 has to do with zombie. You see the worms coming out of his mouth? Them are the nano worms. The same nano worms we see in the movie The Strand, which the doctor from the CDC in The Strand, look at them damn nano worms. He was head of the Canary Project. Canary Project equals 149, matching 66 in skull and bones. And again, they want to add 3 strands of 22 to your 44 base pair of DNA. That's the 3rd strand DNA. When the queen walks up, lights that ball. Remember, right before she died, she touched that globe, and the 3 pink strands of DNA lit up. That's what it's all about, guys. It's all about these little nano worms and this type of technology. We also seen this. I told you, brother, you said you watched From too. And in the last episode of From, at 4 minutes and 44 seconds in, she has worms coming out of her mouth. Lucifer 444, cloning 444, and graphene 444. What do you think about that, bro?
There's two things. One is that the zombie, not to sound like sensationalist or like anti-entertainment, but I feel like there's a very strong movement towards all these zombie shows, and it's not just because it's a popular topic like vampires were werewolves, you know, maybe like 50 years ago. But I think that zombies is the closest we can get to dehumanizing another humanoid-looking figure, where, you know, kids can kill them in video games, and you can watch it on a TV show with their family and just watch someone decimate, you know, 200 human figures. But as long as they were all zombies, then it's all good. So I just feel like it's this very convenient vehicle that just help nudge people into not caring as much if they see someone that, like, oh, that's just a zombie. You could just kill them, I guess. I feel like there's definitely a push for that. And on that same note, with all these things with like the worms coming out and the nanobots, there's like two different sides pushing on each other. One side, they've got the greatest marketing team ever because they call it smart homes and smart credit and smart everything. So if you're like, oh, I don't want that smart thing, then it's like, oh, so you're an idiot, right? You want to use an idiot home. So that's kind of the premise of it. A dumb car, one that pollutes the earth and everything. So they got that marketing side. But then on the other side, you've got people that want to be the Luddites that are saying like all technology is always going to be bad. We have to just like run off into the woods and never use cell phones again. So if you take those two components, right, you got this dehumanizing aspect where I can kill people as long as they're zombies. So now if you see someone with worms coming out of their mouth, oh, that person has sort of like absorbed nanobots, like they've embraced technology. It's okay to kill that person. And if you look at, we'll talk about this book Prey by Michael Crichton, the guy that he basically took the concepts from Jurassic Park and a few other books and combined them into one. But he's got this swarm of nanobots, this black or gray goo that can actually turn itself into a person, and it can project however it wants you to, just like this show From, right? Because in From, they can change your environment. They can make you look like you're an old medieval castle. They can make themselves look like monster, normal people. They know what's in your head and can project like your fears that are in your head. But what else could do that would be this big amalgamation, this swarm of nanobots that can project holograms and can move around and turn themselves into things. Well, you can start like playing games on people, right? If you can make someone else think that someone that you actually know and love is a monster, or they're a zombie, or they've got nanobot worms coming out of their mouth, now all of a sudden you don't have the same inhibitions to take them out, right? So I think that there's this underlying context there of they're just training us how to kill ourselves or each other without, forever sleep each other without having to think twice about it.
Yeah, without the empathy in a lot of the first shooter games. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man, with the nanobot stuff. So like, the whole Project Bluebeam, people still, I think a lot of that is a psyop, bro. Because look, they don't need no damn Project Bluebeam and holograms. They have fucking programmable matter. They can, this programmable matter, these little nanobots can take any shape at once, make itself look like a UFO, make itself look like whatever, and controlled by AI. You can feel it, touch it, it's physical. So they don't need holograms.
I wanted to continue this up because
that's just my opinion.
I don't know if you've ever heard of this book before. Have you?
No, it came out the year I was born. Prometheus Rising.
Same here, yeah. I was born in 83.
He's green.
So Prometheus Rising, and in this depiction of the book, but look, he's even coming out of this little this like mechanical skeleton, right? And it's like this soul maybe that's either leaving or coming to. But this was written by Robert Anton Wilson, who's the same,
bro.
He's the same writer that was behind the Illuminatus trilogy that kind of brought the Illuminati back into popular culture in a big way. And the book kind of refers to Timothy Leary's 8th Circuit model of consciousness. Timothy Leary being sort of a cross CIA counterculture personality, and then it also tries to incorporate Aleister Crowley's Thelema religion, and it sort of turns it into like a self-help book. Like if you were to open up this book, it'll say things like, just imagine yourself finding $5 on the road, just constantly whenever you're walking around. Just imagine that you've just found a $5 bill, and if you do that enough, you can convince yourself then you'll actually find a $5 bill. And it's basically teaching you ceremonial magic and chaos magic in a very self-help way. Like you wouldn't even know it as you're reading it. But the reason that I bring this up isn't just the connection between Robert Anton Wilson, but again, we've got this Aleister Crowley connection to this Prometheus idea, because the Promethean fire, also you could kind of consider him as a Lucifer, right? The light bringer. So he's the one that brings this light, but in this case, it could be black goo, right? The forbidden knowledge that they're bringing. It might not be the lost name of God that he's trying to bring down, or just this completely beneficial spiritual fire. It might be an actual material fire that can really screw things up, and we can weaponize against each other. So I thought that was just an interesting tie-in here for anyone that hasn't found that book before. And I wanted to look at where they found the cave paintings. Where they originally in the Prometheus movie, it was in the Eye of Skye, or the Skye Isle. And I went and I found the closest Masonic lodge that's located right next to where in Prometheus they find those original cave paintings. And here's this lodge that was found in 1913, and they had some pictures about the local area. And this is one of the buildings in the local area. Yeah.
Damn, look at they're deep in that lodge, ain't they?
And they point out that within an hour distance, right here, most pictures taken within an hour of the lodge, here's this Duntrodden Brock Gellengag, and I probably didn't pronounce that properly. This is an Iron Age building that existed before people actually, like the modern people, moved into the area. So I feel like this is sort of what they were hinting at, and the actual place that I think that they don't point it out by name, but it's this place called High Pasture Cave at the Isle of Skye in Scotland. And yeah, you can see here Iron Age structures, Mesolithic. But then there was this quote here. First of all, they find, when they discovered this area, a woman with a bunch of children, I guess, that were placed on top of the filling. But even more important than that, this is 2012, a piece of wood that was found that was supposed to be the bridge of Aleister. So this, as this Wikipedia article stated, that it basically pushes back the history of complex music over 1,000 years. So I was just thinking, in the Prometheus movie, their technology operates on what? It operates on like a flute, or on music or vibration and technology. And here we actually have the same year that Prometheus came out. So this discovery happened after the movie had been edited, produced, cut, everything, right? So that same year, they actually find evidence of ancient technology that dates back over 1,000 years earlier than we thought it did, in the exact same place at this High Pasture Cave that they find these cave paintings in Prometheus. That was mind-blowing to me, that the same year they find this huge groundbreaking thing.
Yeah, just go figure. And it just takes me back to the whole Tartaria thing again, though, because they had these acoustic speakers that were in all these crazy shapes and shit. So I don't know what they were using them for, but it was part of their free energy grid, some type of technology. We can do all kinds of things with frequencies. Frequencies can change water. Our bodies are 70% water. It affects water a lot. It can make the water swirl, do all kinds of different shit. But yeah, it's
you felt cymatics right now, yeah.
Yeah, cymatics. That's what I was trying to think of the name of it. There you go.
And then I got some dates for you to help decode here. And these will probably be softballs because they use it so often. But first off is when the movie starts and they're in space. It's December 21st. So I started, first of all, I was like, I didn't even realize Prometheus is technically a Christmas movie. And it is, because they've got a few scenes with like Christmas trees, and they mentioned a few times. But here also on 21st is the date that the pilgrims come on shore of Plymouth. Plymouth Rock. I thought that was kind of interesting because you've got this whole new civilization of people. Well, I've got a few of them.
You want to know what else?
It's also the date that they boarded Apollo 8, the first time humans left orbit, and it was on top of the Saturn V rocket. It was also the date of Pan Am Flight 103 that exploded over Scotland in one of the largest or the biggest attack in the history of the UK. It was also this great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn recently in 2020. Now, this is just a perspective thing. And then what do you got?
That was heavily connected. Okay, so that day is very important. So December 17th, it starts. That's the Pope's birthday, the false prophet, which December 17th is the beginning of Saturnalia, which is from the 17th, I believe, till the 23rd. So the 21st is in the middle of Saturnalia, the worship of Saturn, Kronos. And what did the planet Prometheus look like, bro? Or the planet in Prometheus where they went? It looks like freaking Saturn. Does it not? Has a ring around it and everything.
And again, that was the Saturn rocket on December 21st through Apollo 8. So yeah,
so
there's
they
a few
say. I
different
don't
plays
believe
on that.
it. I don't even believe that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's the numbers that they're playing, right? It's the sheet music that they're playing off of, regardless of what the instruments they're using.
Yeah.
And then I got this screenshot from the actual time when they wake up the doctor. This is Dr. Elizabeth Shaw, the one that gives birth to that Kraken towards the very end. So I don't know if there's any numbers here that stood out to you, but she's currently in dream state 5069797.
They tried to whack us right there. The Wi-Fi started to go out a little bit. Hold on a second. Okay, so what do we got here now? Oh, well, look at the first number, bro. 56. Holy shit. So mind control is 56. What is, I think it's COVID vaccine 56. Trump handed power to female on 3/13 of 2020. 20 plus 20 plus 3 plus 13 is 56. 56 people signed the Declaration of Independence. Satan is mentioned 56 times in the King James Bible. And yeah, it's mind control. Then what do we have there? The 97, which is 16, back to 7, so 7, 7. And then remember in the Matrix, dude, the new Matrix movie, it's showing all the numbers in the beginning, and then it zooms in on two numbers, 5 and 6.
And look what they call at the bottom, a Neuralink or neurovisor link, but it might as well just be called a Neuralink, which is what Elon Musk is introducing. No, that's the exact name of the technology.
Yeah, pretty much exactly. And bro, I went back and watched Jason Goes to Space like you recommended.
Yeah.
So you were so right. If you go back,
it holds up, man. It holds up.
Well, dude, knowing this knowledge, like what me and you were decoding and the whole nanotechnology. Remember when they wake her up out of cryostasis? The nano ants go all over.
Yep.
It's crazy. So you know that's an old ass movie. When's that from? Like 2000 or some shit. So you know they've had this technology probably since the 80s. These nanobots. Whenever they show us something, when they show you an iPhone 10, they're on an iPhone 90. The government, they're always 50 years ahead of us, always.
Well, when they show it to you too, right? They've only just found out how to make it so cheap that a normal person could afford it on a massive scale. So whatever they've got that costs like $100 million per prototype, that's the thing that you're not going to see for 10, 20 years at least.
Yep, until they can mass
What else I got here? Yeah, I mentioned it was a Christmas movie, which I like because now I can put it in my Christmas movie rotation, and I probably will.
Yeah, it's a great Christmas movie.
So I wanted to mention too that when they get the message, when they finally get to the planet and the CEO or the guy that's actually running the whole corporation, he starts talking to him and addressing them and giving them out their orders. That is on another certain date that I wasn't sure how important, but I started looking up what else happened. It was June 22nd.
Go back to where you just were. One back. Go back. Go forward. No, you're messing up. Show where it said employees. Not that
Oh,
one. You were just on it a minute ago. Yeah, now scroll up.
okay. Yeah, we're just a little bit of a delay. Sorry.
Right there. So employees 113. That's very important. That number is super important. That comes from the Babylonian Talmud, the Baba Kamal, and this is where they're allowed to lie to the Goyim. Disinformation's 113, illusions 113, matrix, bullshit, green screen. You know what I'm saying? So
I love it, man. I
then,
love how you got these off the top of your head, man.
oh, dude, I got a fucking photographic memory. If you flip,
but this is the date that they were talking about is June 22nd, and this is the date that Congress creates the Department of Justice by Ulysses S. Grant. That's June 22nd. There's a few others too. This is the birthday of Giuseppe Mazzini, which I've brought up a few times. He's the one that was behind the Carbonari, or the charcoal burners, which was one of the biggest political secret societies in Italy, and a lot of rumors that he was passed the torch of the Bavarian Illuminati at some point. I don't know if I subscribe to that belief, but he's definitely enshrined in all of this sort of secret society knowledge. There's a rumor that he was behind the original Mafia, and that the Mafia acronym stood for Mazzini authorizes fire, intimidation, and arson. I think it was. Julian Huxley. This is the brother of Aldous Huxley. He was born on June 22nd. John Dillinger was also born on June 22nd. I don't know if that matters, but I thought it was a cool coincidence here.
Well,
and then
Pride Month,
yeah, that's what I got for the dates.
Right now, Pride Month, and that has to do with Baal's wife. It's the worship of Baal's wife. She said, "I turn men to women and women to men." That's Baal's wife, and no wonder this is the worship of her month. So look her up. Look,
have a Bud Light for her.
Yeah, have a Bud Light for her. She has many different names. Just type in Baal's wife, and you can see Ashera, Ashera, a mother goddess. She is widely worshipped throughout Syria, Palestine, although she's frequently paired with Baal, who often took the place of El. And they call Lord, when you say Lord, that means Baal. See how they tricked us to worship these Canaanite Phoenician deities, bro? Because that's what it is.
And Baal ends up, yeah, it's interesting, that whole background of the Baal, because there was multiple Baals. There was like Baal Zephyr, there was Baal Hanan, there was Baal Hammond. There was so many that had the similar names that eventually Baal would just mean the main god of this city. So Baal was dependent on what city you were in, on what Baal referred to. But then as people would travel around, it was almost like the gods would get into these intellectual and actual wars. So if one city beat another city, now whoever the winning city's Baal was becomes your Baal. And after that happens enough times, you just kind of start referring to God as Baal. So no matter where you're at, you don't have to remember, what city am I in? I can't accidentally call the wrong god the main god. So you just say God. And that's kind of how if you ever heard the concept of the forgotten name of God or the lost name of God, I think this is kind of partially because of that, right? Like everyone just started referring to him as the proper noun version, and everyone kind of forgot the name, or at least allegorically.
No, you're so right, bro. There's a video I want to show you.
Yeah, let's go.
Hold on a second. Now, this video really blew my mind because it shows Iraq, and they were tested. Guys, listen, pay attention to the mRNA. It's going to blow your mind, and you guys know what that's all connected to.
This was the war was only done for the purpose of testing the system.
Now you're talking about the most recent one with
with
Bush.
With the junior
with Dr. Bush.
Yeah,
and they sprayed that in Iraq.
And they sprayed it in Iraq, and we had single news, for example, that they fought back the Iraqi army by utilizing microwave weapons that gave them the feeling that the skin burns.
Yeah.
This was in public media and mainstream media. And this is not because the microwave weapon had the intensity to make it burn. This is because the RNA was triggered to create the sensation of burning.
Right.
So this had a kind of agent within the bodies of the Iraqi army. They tested all other aspects of it.
Which are these aspects?
From the text, he says you have these psychotronic weapons, making them give up, making them fall in love with the American soldiers, whatever. A long list of psychotronic functions. And you can make people sick, you can make them die of cancer after 1 year, you can make them die in 6 minutes, and you can make them die in 6 seconds if you want to. This is what he listed. And but the most interesting thing from this paper is that he said that they spent 10 billion US and half a year, I think it was half a year, to optimize the cluster topology. And this is something, it sounds just like science fiction if you say it like this, but if you really think about it, if it is only about infecting humans with a virus-like synthetic RNA, you could give a damn about cluster topology. Cluster topology starts to become an interesting topic if this RNA cluster is supposed to carry a soul. Only then a soul or an artificial intelligence or whatever, an RNA. This is kind of the first time that I had an input, an idea of how do they turn people into biorobots. You have the RNA cluster within the air, sprayed in the air with a defined distance from RNA to RNA. And within the human body, the same RNA cluster is prolonged within the cells. And now, whatever is carried by these clusters, the artificial intelligence or a program or a soul, whatever this is, can travel from the dust into the human being.
This is smart dust.
And this is what they call smart dust. And now, this is all kind of grabbed theory. If you take the Morgellon topic is, you find it described as a transhumanistic technology to extract light from the human body, turn it into a radio signal to read out what happens within the human, and opposite way to insert light, not radio frequency, to the human to make him feel whatever you want to make him feel. If you take this Morgellon concept, if you take the nanocrystals, the nanocrystal concept, and if you take all the other things, and then you look into some internal papers of the NASA. This is something that went online, I don't know when, 2000 maybe, or a little bit earlier. It wasn't meant to be published. It was an internal lecture in the NASA facilities in the United States.
I like the way you say NASA. Is that just your thick German accent, or are you putting a Z in there intentionally?
No, it was not intentionally, but it is like this. And they kind of inform each other about future strategic issues for warfare, projecting to the year 2025 with a big subtitle, "The Future is Now." And if you look through it, you find the concept of some sensor swarm, smart dust. You find nanotechs, which is identical with the Morgellon function. And you find co-opted insects. So somewhere in the American intelligence community,
Big
which
spiders.
seems to be black magic inspired.
Oh, well, there are certain individuals who would say the US Army has totally been satanic since like the 1930s.
Sometimes I would say it looks like. Definitely the the army-based intelligence community, especially whatever was founded by the Tavistock Institute, which is CIA and Office of Naval Intelligence. Those are definitely black magic institutions.
That's
So
fire.
Sue K, yep, and Sue, you're so right, honey. They are turning us into antennas. Our blood is perfect for it. The iron in our blood, that's all this nanotechnology and the more gallons that they're spraying. That great book
This
on
is
it.
right here. This is what the kids are saying. Hey, over here, what's wrong with this hair? It feels metallic. And he's saying there's certain hairs. That's a polymer coating from implants that the body's rejecting. And this is what people complain about when they've got Morgellons, is that they're constantly itching and scratching. And then if you look at some of the skin cells under a microscope, you'll see some little metallic follicles. He also mentioned the crystals. There's the crystals that they're talking about. These hexagonal objects that kind of get discarded. They're talking about all these like biological sort of side effects. And then the next page is actually this 2-page spread talking about nanobots. These are little nanobots you can see in the background. So yeah, like everything that guy was just talking about is in this.
You can't get a better book for your kids. I mean, honestly, guys, we need to be educating our children, because if not, they're going to try to merge with this shit. They're programming them in school, and without us getting in trouble, the whole LGBTQ situation is part of transhumanism. It's a stepping stone for it. You know what I'm saying? I have a bunch of other videos on that guy. I love that dude. He has so much great information. If you watch our Illuminati Worms video, I play a 3-part series that he breaks down. The first part, he's talking about Morgellons. It's about a 5-minute clip. And then you heard what he was saying with these people involved with black magic, and that's what it all is, guys.
Oh, I believe that. And when it sounded like he was hesitant about the 30s. I would go farther than that. I would say that it started way before the 30s. It started in the 1800s, the late 1800s. And then what happened is that the United States, specifically the Rockefellers, among others, but the Rockefellers, they decide that they want to go all out and do mental research. They want to figure out the origin of dementia, essentially. And through this research, they come up with the conclusion that if it's genetic, we can only weed it out. And that gives birth to this concept of like selective breeding, the big bad E word. And it was the Americans that were pushing this, along with some of the Austrian scientists that we were collaborating with. And they gave birth to the entire German movement, World War II. It wasn't the Germans that were doing this evil stuff originally. They got the incentive from us. They saw what we were producing and said, hey, we want to actually enact that at a state level. The way that you guys are proposing to do it in America, we're just going to straight up do it here in this country. And they did it. And then that gave that whole aspect this bad name, but they also ended up being the sacrificial lamb, right? They became the scapegoat. So now it's always like, oh no one else was doing it. It was just those bad guys. They were the weird dark occultists that were basing their military operations on black magic and occultism. No one else would do that but those crazy World War II German soldiers, right? But no, that inspiration came from America.
At least you're smart enough not to say the N word, because that'll get us out. They don't play that, or you can't mention their leader's name, but we can say eugenics. We can say that part, and that's what it is. In America, in the early 1900s, I mean, Margaret Sanger, she was a real big into eugenics, and she's the one that started Planned Parenthood. And if you look what she was talking about, it was the most racist shit in the world, and look where they've targeted Planned Parenthoods. They put them in the hoods. So they're targeting poor, and it's not just a race thing, even though it does affect certain races more than others. They feel the same about poor white people. It's a poor thing.
Oh yeah, and it goes so much farther back than even Margaret Sanger. I think the first law in the books is 1896 in Connecticut. They made it illegal to marry if you had seizures, I think. So if you had epilepsy, or if they deemed you feeble-minded, whatever that meant, then you were not allowed to marry and essentially not allowed to procreate, by proxy, because back then you weren't supposed to have extra, curricular children, essentially, especially if you were poor. But that was an actual law in the books in Connecticut in the 1890s. That's essentially codified eugenics, and that was way before anyone in Europe was doing anything remotely similar. So that it starts there, and then it just gained so much traction until Germany sort of like poops in the punch bowl for all of these otherwise, CIA agents, because that's what they end up becoming, right? They're in intelligence.
OSS,
they go over
yeah.
to Germany. They study in Germany with the Germans, the exact same Germans that they're going to be fighting against in about 5 or 6 years. So then that happens, and then in addition to Paperclip, which happens after the war, they also had one called it was called like the 10,000 or something. I got to remember the name of it. Or the Ritchie Boys. There was this group of Europeans called the Ritchie Boys, and it was people that were otherwise about to get drafted, and we got them before they got to that point. So it was almost like a pre-Paperclip operation. And that was also all completely at Camp Ritchie, and it was, I think they provided like over 60% of the intelligence. So we were relying on the same people to give intelligence on their own. And I feel that like even after that war ended, we just took that momentum and kept running with it. Even the guy in charge of the MK Ultra program, Sidney Gottlieb, they called him the Black Sorcerer and the Dirty Trickster. And those weren't just, funny, fanciful names. It was because he was deep into occultism and black magic and employed that in his work, and he loved it.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. The dark sorcerer, black sorcerer, that is nuts. And guys, make sure you hit that like button. I mean, hey, bro, we've had over 400 people in here this whole hour and 15 minutes, so they're definitely enjoying the content. Please hit the like button, guys, and please go on Paranoid American's website. Check him out. His YouTube channel, he's just started. He started a Rumble. What are your YouTube?
I'm a newborn baby right now. So on YouTube, it's just at Paranoid American. You can go to youtube.com/Paranoid American. I don't even know what it is on Rumble yet. I think it's /Paranoid American. This is the very first video that I'm streaming there. So I'll figure it out after we're done here, what all those links are. But like you always say, man, direct people right to the website, paranoidamerican.com, and you can find everything else that comes from there. But that's where I put all my best content.
Well, yeah, hey, bro, when you started talking about them Germans, they really attacked your feed. Your shit started slowing down and some more stuff. Now, guys, okay, real quick, we got Truth Mafia now over here. And Truth Mafia is the Netflix of truther channels. You can find Tommy Truthful, my brother Donut, RKX. We interview him tomorrow at 3:30. Ania Soro, he's
shout out Ani.
Yeah, shout out to Ani, an amazing teacher, and our brother he's a real conscious brother, because the whole conscious movement in the melanated community has been so co-opted. It's crazy. We got Decode Your Reality, my brother Logan, which shout out to Logan, Decode Your Reality on YouTube, because this whole Prometheus thing I got after I watched Logan's Prometheus Decode right here. So he did this Prometheus Decode. I watched it, and someone on his YouTube shared the link right here, shared the link to this video, and that's what inspired me to do all this and made me research everything. And then I found
that's the exact same video that you sent me that was like opened up a whole new world for just that one deleted scene video you showed. It's like 14 or 15 minutes, and it explains everything that seemed confusing the first time I saw this.
Yes, sir. And check this out. This is the blood of our Lord equals 118. The matrix is 118. The destruction of the world is 118. And that's what they were going to do with this black goo. They were going to destroy Earth. They were going to destroy Earth. And, it stopped them from procreating. For we cannot create, as the gift was stripped from us long ago. As always, we will continue our attempts to create a perfect Eden. And this gets into the Anunnaki, which is what these entities represent. The Anunnaki, the Watchers, some people call them fallen angels. But anyways, I just wanted to shout him out, because I always try to shout out people if they inspire me. You know what I'm saying? We got Jay Dreams over here. We got Sling and Stone. We got Paranoid American. And I'll be having a lot more of his content up here. He's got his own channel. So this is something I put a lot of money into, guys, to build this platform, to promote everybody, because I think that we should be promoting each other. And like how I lost my YouTube, we can all come together like Voltron. And, you know, Donut shared it for me. I got all my people in my community sharing it. So it helps us rebuild our channels when we've been censored. Over on Tommy Truthful, you know, these videos will be embedded so you can watch them live. That's playing on Rumble Live right now. And any of my links, guys, you'll be able to go in my links now. I'm paying for this. So this is so cool. Linktree was censoring. They was breaking my link for Rumble, so you couldn't go to my Rumble. You couldn't go to 2 of my websites. So last night I found this link service and I paid for it. And check it out, guys. You can embed it into your post, and then there's my Instagram, there's the groups, the new YouTube right here. This is the one you're gonna want to go subscribe to, hit the bell, hit all notifications, because my big one's gone. That's the 4th one gone already. And it's they won't even let me make it at Tommy Truthful no more. So it's Truthful TV. Make sure you guys go subscribe to that. I'll actually put the link in the description for you guys real quick. Hold on one second. Let me throw this in the chat. Boom, there it is. And then boom, check out the new, I've been redesigning Truthful TV. And what Truthful TV is, we got 3 of the biggest online media conglomerates right now. We're doing numbers like Tommy Truthful. I hit almost like 1.3 million last month. The first day we opened Truth Mafia, we did over 30,000 website hits. And Paranoid American, you know, owning a website, that's a lot, brother, for a website. You know what I'm saying? Now, this one, I'm turning it into, it's more of a social media platform, because they're censoring on all the other social media platforms. So over here, you can join different VIP groups. You just hit this. It'll pull up the plans. This is the $8.80 a month, but there's a free one too, guys. You can go to the free one, 100% free, if you click on the groups right here. Bam. So here's the free one right here. And let me just show you guys. It's really cool. Travis does his decodes in here. You have your own little space, just like Facebook. We have to start investing in ourselves. This is what I got Donut doing. He's plugging his website now with all of his new links. Shout out to him. All my people, I try to educate them. We got to build in ourselves, because Facebook and these other platforms will keep taking us down. There's Travis 83.
And we're talking about
so if you like
an
what
actual
Travis
community.
does,
right? We're talking about like a community of people,
right,
not a community that's established on a website and it's just database connections between different rows. A real community are people that live outside of these stupid ass database tables. So no matter how much they want to delete them or modify them, you know, you can't do the same thing to an actual human community of like-minded spirits. And I think that's what we need to be sort of directing more energy at.
Yep. And Travis, look, you got that 33 right now, brother. Let me ain't I following you? Oh, I'm not signed in. That's not bad. I mean, you know, synchronicity is real. So 33, they took that number and perverted it. They murdered Yeshua, 33 AD, at 33 years old. But what it really symbolizes is the 33 vertebrae. The Kundalini travels up to connect to the pineal gland. But look, see these different badges? When you first come in, you'll get freshly red pill badge. Then you got a level 1, level 2, level 3. The more cool stuff you share, you can earn these badges. Or if you just want to be a member in the diamond family, you can a one-time fee for $26, and then bam, you know, you also get a free astrology numerology reading. It's a half-hour reading for me. We talk on the phone. But here's some of Travis's decodes. He does a lot of them over here. My girl Julie, she puts a lot of information up. So it's really cool, guys. It's our own social media platform that within the next couple of years, you'll see I'll have this jumping bigger than Gab, bigger than, and what we're launching next is Truthful.tv, which will be like a YouTube connected to this. So it will have our own YouTube, our own Rumble account. You know, I try to take the money I make and reinvest in myself, Paranoid American, because I feel that's the way to go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I've got
But
boxes of comic books behind me that say I share that same mentality, man.
smart, brother. It's smart. And I just think this is so cool how they can have all the links there in one um, thing. So if you want the diamond membership, guys, you just click on that. Bam, you're right there. Click on this. And I only use PayPal, but you don't have to have a PayPal account. You can check out as a guest. So only thing you need is an email. Then you hit continue. You can use your credit card, and I use PayPal because they protect you. Everything is encrypted through their thing. I don't have to deal with any of that. It's a secure checkout. That's why I use them. If I use my own credit card thing, then I'm liable. I'd have to have insurance on it, shit like that. It's just easier to do it through PayPal. And like I said, you can check out as a guest. See, continue as a guest. You never used to be able to do that, but you are now. Hey, dude, why every time I do this, does it come up with this shit now? Tries to give me AI shit. You ever have that happen on your computer?
No, it looks like an add-on or something.
Yeah, but I don't have no AI opened in here. What the hell is it doing? That's so bizarre to me. I've noticed that the last
It's becoming ubiquitous, man. It's just gonna sneak up, and before you know it, everything's gonna be AI driven.
Yeah. And over on Truth Mafia, we have 2 trending videos right now. This one right here already today has done over 11,000 views. So they're hiding the information of what happened to Jamie. And guys, I'm not joking. When I watch this video, oh my God, you guys are going to feel bad for this dude. He actually tried to stand up against them and shit didn't go right. And I can't get into it too much, but it affected his brain and he's never coming back. He's never going to be Jamie again. So it's over for him. That's how evil these people are. They forced him to do it to get this movie deal. So, the actors are falling victim too. You can watch that over here on truthmafia.com. I just had to plug that. And then, I did have your site open. I showed it, right? Hold on a second.
Yeah, pop up with that paranoidamerican.com. I've been in business since 2012, publishing comics about conspiracy theories and occult research and breaking it down into non-doom and gloom ways. We were talking about that the other day, that there's so much doom and gloom version of these conspiracies and research where it just makes you scared or want to lash out at people. This is more to laugh about it, learn about it, and get more insight and ways to look at it than just I guess constantly being in fear. Sometimes laughing away at something is a little bit better.
No, I agree with you. Yeah, me and you were talking about that the other day. And your site is so cool, bro. And I like it because I collect stuff. So I like to have these little, but like you sent me a bunch for free. And it's just something cool that you have that's physical, that's from, Paranoid American, a member of the Truth Mafia family. You can get the Adrenochrome, which hey, listen, they're probably putting that shit in the damn McDonald's, I would imagine. I like this one too, but the Adrenochrome, I think I might come over and grab me one of them. That bitch is raw right there. And it reminds me, over here on our website, we also have a store and we offer different stuff like that. So you can go to the shop right here, or if you're on your phone version, it looks a little different. The best thing to do on your phone version, guys, is join our app. We have an app for this. So then it's on your phone like Facebook is, or Instagram, right? It's on your phone. And the app looks much cooler on your phone than the website version. But you just go to the shop. We offer tons of good products for you over here. There's the Make Votes Count Again Trump shirt, $33. We got the Truth Mafia shirt. You can get it in different colors, the Death to Chemtrails. I got some of the best CBD in the game. Delta 8 shit. Now it says, they don't ship to certain places. I shipped all them places. Don't worry. They just make me put that on my website. I don't. Yeah. I shipped all of them. They try to tell you, you can't ship to this place or that place. I don't give a shit about none of that. I just sent them out today. So here's some of the good ones. If you want my recommendation, try this one, the Astro Boy Sativa. It's phenomenal. Death to Chemtrail. This is the most powerful rock that blocks 5G. It's a little ugly. It's called Tourmaline. $17. That's shipping included. You know, we got a lot of 5G protection on here. Really cool stuff. And there's also a link to Body Align down in the description, which is some pretty good 5G technology as well. And the cool thing about them guys is they promote, you know, there are sponsors. They've sponsored Donuts podcast. They sponsor a lot of my people. And you can get that technology, wear the wellness band, which I got mine right here. I didn't have it on today because I just got off the shower. But yeah, them links are down in the description. And these are really cool, man. They really protect you. You got the disc on the bottom of it. This one's a different one. This one's one I got myself. It's a little dirty right now, but it has these chakra things on the back, which aligns your chakras. So, you know, I only take anything I have or I promote, I believe in. I use it myself, or I wouldn't promote it. You know what I'm saying? So we got to invest in ourselves, guys. Hey, have you learned anything new, Paranoid, on the trident, bro?
You got something new for me?
Well, the only thing I came up with is this. It's connected to the alien shit, too. We didn't know that last time.
All domain anomaly resolution office. Okay, so all domain anomalies, that's like anything weird, right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's an eagle, which represents Enlil, Zeus, Jupiter, has a damn Illuminati pyramid, and it's holding the trident facing down in its talon.
And the trident could technically be reattributed back to Zeus because it wasn't originally given to Neptune. You know, that was sort of an amalgamation of other gods that they had to kind of disperse throughout. So he wasn't originally even in charge of the sea. I think that initial trident that he was given to came from Zeus. So it's almost the same thing.
Yeah. Ain't it crazy how 9/11, the Twin Towers had the trident on it? Then that Malaysian flight that went missing had the trident on it. Then the whole nuclear program is codenamed the Trident. I think it's connected to the coming of the Antichrist, thermonuclear war, and it's obviously in front of CERN. Shiva has the trident that destroyed the three worlds. I mean, you know, it's just the symbolism behind it is so big right now, and it's
well, and the trident used to also just be the bident. It didn't always be three prongs. It also was just two prongs. And I remember I was on a show with Donut, and he mentioned, yeah, bident and biden is sort of the same root word. So you've got this sort of like false god projected as the leader of the free world, right? And there's that trident again.
Yep. And the bident is okay, so the trident is supposed to be Poseidon's, and then the bident is Hades.
And this is the origin
right?
of the pitchfork too. Yeah, that's where the pitchfork came from, was from Hades' version of the bident. And there was some, if you look at older depictions of the devil's pitchfork, you would notice that one of the little sporks, one of the little prongs, would have been a different size than the other three. It would either be a little bit shorter, a little bit taller typically. And that was because it was supposed to be a perversion of the Holy Trinity. If all three of the prongs were equal, there was also some, you know, Christian symbols that represented the Trinity or the Holy Trinity through what might consider a trident. And that's why they made the devil's version of the pitchfork a slight, you know, sort of a deviation from that.
Wow, that's crazy. I never knew that. Now, I want to show you one more thing, brother. Did you ever notice this? I don't know if you watched Dark City. I'm sure you watched The Matrix.
When it,
But,
yeah, well, I mean, I've seen Dark City when it came out, so that's one's worth a rewatch too by now.
oh, dude, it's so good. And look, in each one of them, bro, I showed my people this last podcast. They both have the injection into the mind. They both have the parasitic octopi, the Kraken. They both have the scorched, darkened world, which is the, you know, it looks like it has this AI overlay that makes it look beautiful and shit. That's the false matrix, the false projection. But the real world is this scorched, darkened world, and they're all plugged into this damn super computer, right? The hero escapes the false reality. They both have the staircase with the checkerboards, and they both have the stopping bullet scenes, identical rooftop scenes. The three, just like the agents, the trio. Then they both have the supercomputer. You know what I'm saying? It's called Dos Ex Machine and Chrononds. I can't pronounce that. Chronds. How would you pronounce that?
Krondos?
Krondus, I guess that one's called. Which is weird. I never even heard of that. So I would like to look into that word, what root word that means. But yeah, bro, that blew my mind. The connection between both of them. And their whole world's controlled by freaking artificial intelligence and, you know, the whole nanotechnology shit. It's all part of it. Something crazy's going on with old Beyonce too, guys. We had Tina Turner die. Beyonce's mom, Tina Knowles, looks just like her. Who knows if they killed off her character on the world stage and a new one was born? I don't know. But, you know,
recast.
Yeah, recasted. I showed you guys she had the CERN portal on her stage, just like Astro World, Travis Scott. So they keep showing us this over and over and over again. And right here, she's on the horse, right? And if you remember the decode I did about the Kentucky Derby, it was connected to her on the horse when she was on the Red Horse of Death, Vogue, which was on 6/16. We're coming up to the anniversary of that. 616 is the original number of the beast that's in Papyrus 115 of the oldest Bible of Revelations in the world. They found it, I believe, in 2017. But check this out. Within 2 days left in the Renaissance World Tour, we have a music icon die, just like always. 09, it was Michael Jackson. 13, Whitney Houston. 16, Prince. And then here's something interesting. Whitney Houston, why did they never show the hallway footage ever? We never get to see no hallway footage when she dies. They murdered her because just like Michael Jackson, Whitney ran out of money. Well, Michael, I don't know if he ran out of money, but Whitney got broke. She was smoking hella rocks. And she wanted her masters. And once you go after your masters, they whack you. They ain't letting you get that shit. You know what I'm saying? She had some of the most trending songs in the world, dude. Just like Michael. I mean, remember how big Whitney was when The Bodyguard came out? And she dies, she drowns. Then her daughter dies the same way. And we never see the hall footage. Like, come on, that's a 5-star hotel. How the hell is there no footage of that?
Well, from just an economic standpoint, too, in a very cold way, but most of the time, these artists are worth a lot more dead than they are alive for a number of reasons. One is that the recording companies tend to have insurance policies, huge insurance policies, because they kind of look at these artists as assets, right? So that makes some money on one front. Then they also don't have to fight about the masters, like you just mentioned. It's even better if they haven't formed an estate yet. I'm sure Whitney Houston, I mean, probably should have had an estate put together. I don't know the whole legal background, but usually, especially like the 27 Club, when they take out these musicians much earlier in the age, what they can do is they can take them out at their peak. So that way they can keep selling all their hit albums and they don't have any sort of like falls from grace that the record companies have to worry about. They can just have this cash cow that lasts forever. You know what I mean? Same thing with Elvis. You could almost make an argument here is that you take someone out at their peak or close to their peak. You don't have to worry about people wondering, you know, them falling off, and then you can just keep pumping out new albums. And imagine AI coming out very soon. They're going to have re-releases of artists with songs they never performed in, and because the record labels can probably make some sort of claims that they own, you know, the likeness of these songs or these voices. Or even better than that, I've heard some good explanations on the reason why they're going to make it so you can't copyright a voice for AI is going to be the same reason that if I went and did voice impressions, right? If I got to do a really great Donald Trump voice impression, no one can stop me legally from making that voice and even making money off of it and selling my voice as it. So how are they going to make it illegal for AI to basically do the same thing that a human could do? So it gets a little bit dicey, and I feel like there's factions on both sides that benefit and don't benefit.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I see one of your followers, Crypto, keeps talking about our pyramid. Listen, Crypto, they take sacred symbols, bro, and pervert them. So you need to learn and study first. They take something that is holy and sacred. A pyramid is connected to free energy source, fractal energy, okay? And then they take that and they invert it and attach negative energy to it. Just like Toby said, pyramids are not evil, only how you use them. It's your intent behind it. Just like there's no such thing as an evil number. It's the energy you're putting into it. So just wanted to clarify that. And mine has a cross out, if you don't see that. I had the 59 number in there. Why? Because Tommy Truthful equals 59. So I picked the name. You know, everything I do is connected to numbers, just like numerology and astrology ain't bad. They never said that in the original Bible. It's in the New Testament that was set up by the Council of Nicaea, and this was to get us to worship the Pope as Jesus Christ here on earth, which his name was never no damn Jesus. That means Hail Zeus. His name was Yahshua Hamashai, and he was black. My skin is the color of bronze, burnt in a furnace, my hair of wool. This Caucasian brother, his name is Caesar Borgia, and he is the son of the Borgia Pope. Was like the first Spaniard Pope or something, and he actually had sex with his sister too. So
he's the one that got, you know, a portrait painted of him as Jesus, and that one took off as the white Jesus.
Facts. So people just gotta, you know, educate themselves before they're doing it, because they love to pervert sacred symbols, just like the whole 33 thing. They took that and perverted it. That has to do with our inner Christ, our inner Christos, activating the 33, the Kundalini up to 33 vertebrae, connecting to our pineal gland, our third eye, which they have calcified with fluoride. Okay. And it has to do with this secretion that it's a secretion that comes up the chimney. That's where the whole Santa Claus story comes from. It comes up the chimney to the third eye. And there's something about it. If I forget the whole story, but if you can bring this secretion up during the 2 days of the month that it does it, or it might be 2 days of the year. The inner oil, the Christos, Toby. And is it 2 days of the month or 2 days of the year when it travels up? If you can do that, they say you can activate your third eye. It's crazy the shit people were able to do by doing this, but they've tried to tell us all this knowledge is demonic and evil. It's to keep you away from raising your vibration, learning who you are, learning how to astral project and do things you never thought you could do. And that's why in the Bible, what does it say? With the faith of a mustard seed, you can move a mountain. It's all about believing in yourself. This comes into manifestation. You know what I'm saying?
And I could tie this back to Prometheus a little bit too, because I was watching, it wasn't one of the video breakdowns that you sent me. I was watching a few others, and there was a breakdown of one of the director cuts, and they were mentioning behind the scenes footage, and that they mentioned a few times at the end of the movie, like, why do you guys want to, you know, wipe us out? Like, what was the flaw? They don't really explain it. And one of the behind the scenes stories was that the engineers sent back another engineer to kind of check out on humanity and to tell them, like how to fix things and how to change the course what they were headed in, and that the humans killed this person, and that was supposed to be this allegory to them sending Jesus down, and that because the humans killed Jesus, that was the test. And when they failed that test is when they realized, okay, we need to go back down there and wipe everybody out and start over again.
Holy, that makes sense too. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, there's something with it, man. Yeshua could have been, some people believe it's God manifested in the flesh, and then we killed him. Like, what the hell?
I got some other fire that I don't think that we've pulled up before. So this first one.
Want me to add it? Hold on a second.
Yeah. I'm a stream right now. So this first one is from an old book called The Sacred Geography of Canaan or Canaan, or essentially Phoenicia. That eventually all the Canaanites kind of turn into Phoenicians once they become seafaring. And there was this quote in here where they're breaking down all the different correlations between the gods. And here we've got Prometheus was linked to the Phoenician god of Magog. And then Magog is immediately set off some bells because I've heard that name before from Skull and Bones research. But first of all, there's a lot of sort of misinterpretations of what Magog might actually mean. It might mean land of Gog, which means Magog is like land of God, which gets confusing. But Magog was also the name of the most sexually active bonesman that joins the Skull and Bones at the Yale Society. And people in particular named Magog as they joined Skull and Bones. You've got President William Howard Taft and Robert Taft, and also George Bush Sr. was named Magog as he joined Skull and Bones. That was his kind of code name. And that meant that he had the most sexual experience out of anyone else in that class that got tapped that year. So I found that fascinating, that Prometheus's name was Magog and Prometheus and George Bush Sr. in the Skull and Bones. There's got to be some kind of, there's that 322 connection again, right? It keeps rearing its head in all this research, and I find that crazy.
What's that Bible verse, the 2231 you told me?
We're gonna get there. Let me see. Oh, there was another note here that there's a monster called Gog Magog right here.
Gog and Magog's in the Bible. Ain't that supposed to be like connected?
And one of the giants. So again, we've got Prometheus, known as Gog Magog in some context, right, in Phoenician, being a giant, and just like the engineers were these big giants. So I don't know. I think that this is really cool that it's got these extra ties in here.
Look at that thing. His suit is all technology. They merged with AI, guys. They merged with nanotechnology. That's the black goo. And that's what, turned them so where they couldn't have sex no more. They couldn't produce. Look at them. It's that shit. This is what they want us to look like.
And you were talking about the Bible verses before when they mentioned the different planets or the moons that the humans are detecting and traveling to that they think the engineers live on. It's always LV dash. So if you look up Leviticus and you look at Leviticus 42:6, or in another one it was like 22:3. I've got it here somewhere. But so here's 42:6. This is where these engineers come from, and the quote in 42:6. This is Isaiah. Hold on, I had the other one in here.
Leviticus 42:6.
There might not be a 42:6. Let me do the 32 or the 22:3. Yeah, this is 22:3. So this is the actual planet they end up going to that has the black goo. And the quote is King James Version, "Say unto them, whoever he be of your seed among your generations, that goeth unto holy things, which the children of Israel hallow unto the Lord, having uncleanliness upon him, thou soul shall be cut off from my presence." So this, I think, is the black goo. This is like saying if you embrace technology over divine sort of your source. Origins from God, your divine source, then you get cut off from the Lord. And what happens to them? They lose the power to reproduce by themselves. So then they become imprisoned by their own technology. That's the uncleanliness, at least in the context of this Prometheus movie. I think that's how it's being interpreted. And again,
I think that's real life too, bro. Art imitates life so much. And, after they die, Remember the AI, the little AI dude, which he was bizarre. We didn't even get into that. That dude was like testing.
Oh yeah, I
people.
got my favorite quote, man. We were laughing about this, but he's like, there's a scene where they're like, "What are you doing, David?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna open this door." They're like, "No, don't open the door." And he just goes, "Oops."
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, he was on some other shit.
This hits so hard right now, though, because again, 2012, it was like a funny little joke, but now in 2023, hearing you telling AI, "No, wait, don't do that," and the AI's like, "Oh, wait, I already did it." Like, we're already there. We're there right now, where AI is starting to take over, and you're like, "Hey, wait, slow down." And there's no such thing as slow down at this point. It's going to keep getting faster and more complicated to the point where we're not going to be able to solve it.
I use it. I got it plugged into my sites where it'll upload shit for me. It's good. You can use it for certain things, but like some people, I don't agree with everything. I like, they're using it. It's going to take over art, and like that shit. I don't know if I agree with. I like organic art. So, a human.
It's not gonna care about anyone agreeing, though. That's David, right? That's David saying like, David. "Oops."
Yeah, I don't give a fuck if you agree. And he put that black goo in the dude's stomach, guys, or in the guy's drink. So the guy's like crying because the engineers weren't alive. He wanted to meet him and talk to him. So then, boom, he puts that black goo into his drink, and he drinks it. He has sex with his girlfriend, which they couldn't have a kid together. So he gets her pregnant because he has this black goo in him, and she gets pregnant with the Kraken, the freaking Kraken. It looks just like the octopus that you guys seen in the intro, and at the end, it saves her life. I think it might have been trying to grab her too, but she got away. It grabbed the engineer because he came in to kill her after they brought the ship down, and the Kraken gets a hold of him and pulls him in. He's trying to stop it, and you just see all these teeth, and then it shoots this thing out into his mouth, and then the Kraken just kind of dies on top of him, and boom, that's when that xenomorph thing is born out of the engineer. It looks like the damn Demigorgon or whatever the hell it's called in Stranger Things. That's crazy because that's showing that there's the black goo is a demon and it's inside your body. It's a way these demonic entities can use you as a meat suit, as a freaking avatar. It's a storehouse for demonic consciousness or some alien consciousness, whatever you want to call it, archonic consciousness.
And I gotta throw up since we're talking about that. I mean, it sounds exactly like what you call the symbiote from the Marvel universe, which is where Venom and Carnage and a number of other come from. But essentially, there's this planet, and I think I've got the actual name of it here. Yeah, Earth 17628 is this, or Kleintar. It's basically inhabited by just pure symbiotes, and symbiotes end up coming to the Earth. And this is eventually they find their way to Spider-Man, I think. And that's where you get this black Spider-Man suit for a little while. But when he realizes that the symbiote is this alien entity that's starting to take over his mind, and it's starting to help him feed into his more base sort of like desires, he gets rid of the black suit, and then it goes and jumps into, I think his name's Eddie LeBrock or Eddie Brock. You can call me out if I'm getting the names wrong, but
no, you're
that's
right.
Venom. And Venom is basically a bad guy, and Carnage, I think, is like a serial killer. So the symbiote starts searching out for people that are going to be more prone to feeding in to, whatever the symbiote wants to tap into. So, but what is it? It's this black goo. It's this alien black goo that helps you forget about your soul and forget about being nice to other people, and all the, the golden rules, and you just follow your base instincts.
Yeah, eating people. And that number you showed, go back to that number. That number adds up to 24.
I knew you were gonna have some math for me on it. There it is.
Yeah. That number, the number 24 is a symbol for the Omega event, and that's what we're coming to. This Omega event, me and Donut talk about. And shout out to that person that just sent 99 stars. Thank you. I can't read your name; it's in Arabic, but I love you. The Omega event. It's this person right here. Hold on, right here. Shout out to you. Shout out to all my Arabic people out there. I think that's Arabic. I have no clue. But yeah, man.
And here's the other one is where
is
they actually, well, just like in Prometheus, right? They've got the planet that the engineers come from, and then they've got a planet where they stage their biochemical warfare. So just like that in the Marvel universe, the symbiote has the planet where it kind of comes from, but then it has the planet where it was launched from, and that one is 688.
wow. And just the 68, that you got the 68 and then the 8. 8 represents Saturn, the 8 points of time and space, 9/11 within the cube worship, Saturn worship, the infinity sign, that whole life, death, rebirth cycle. But that 68 is huge connected to nanotechnology. 1968, they coined the word coronavirus, made 9/11 the emergency code. George Bush graduated Skull and Bones that year. They started building the Twin Towers.
Or we can call him Magog, right?
Yeah, Magog. And then 33 years later, Mr. Magog brought the towers down. So all that started in 1968, the year we allegedly went around the moon, too. We know that's a fucking lie. Like, come on, guys. You ain't never went around the moon. Stop it. Now, I believe they can travel to other worlds interdimensionally. I think we have that technology, but the way they tell us they're traveling, I think it's complete bullshit.
And I wanted if you had a breakdown on these numbers too. This is the actual name of the black goo. It's called chemical A and then 03959X9115. But this is the name of what the black goo actually is from, you know, like a clinical standpoint. In the fictional universe of Prometheus, at least.
Well, look at the numbers. Just let's forget the words. Look at the numbers. What's it add up to? 42. The beast rules for 42 months. They brought down the Georgia Guidestones, remember, in the 42nd year since it was erected. And it was 18 hours after CERN broke the world record in energy. And 18 is 6 plus 6 plus 6. Then, boom, Georgia Guidestones blow up. Georgia Guidestones was erected on what date? 3/2/2, which talks about getting the population down to 500 million in perpetual harmony with nature. So just that 42 number is heavily connected to sacrifice and the 42 laws of Maat. Remember that goddess? So
that's nuts too, that the Georgia Guidestones is sort of like the plot of Prometheus, right? It's to wipe out, do a great reset, and start over again because we screwed up at some point. That's the underlying premise.
That 322-223. Anytime you see it, you'll see that same energy. Like genocide energy is what it is. That's why 2023 we're seeing they're getting crazy, man. And probably by the end of the year, they'll I hope I'm wrong, but they'll probably launch World War III. It might be in the beginning of 2024, and that'll be the Omega event, the whole 2024, when we have the Great American Eclipse, the twin eclipses that make the X right over the New Madrid fault line. So they got something planned. And bro, remember when they was doing all that fracking? They did fracking right down that line where the twin eclipses makes the X. And I think they were putting some charges there. I think they're going to blow the shit up, blame it on some earthquake, and split America right up there. So all that will, to run from the Gulf of Mexico up to the Great Lakes. And they showed us this with all their pole shift charts.
I wouldn't doubt it, just so they can charge extra tax for having to ferry it along the new schism that they open up. There's going to be a new shipping charge.
It's part of the new currency, the digital currency, which will be the North American Union, bro. It'll be Mexico, Canada, and North America, this digital currency. That's what
I remember the Amero. Alex Jones was talking about the Amero in the 90s with the same reasons.
Yeah, Mr. Bill Hicks. Hell yeah, he was.
What else? This is okay. We went over some of the earlier scenes here. That's where they talk about him being 100,000 years old, and then this is that deacon. And they mentioned here that the deacon was that original big queen alien that you mentioned, and this was the real one that they found out could they could take its blood and reproduce for real. But when they ran out of the deacon's blood right here, the blood ran out, and they tried to recreate the gene pool of the deacon blood, but what they instead created was something else. That's what I brown back with me. That this is what they're talking about, is that black goo. straying too far away and then kind of losing the ability to do it. And then I noticed in one of the videos that you had sent me, they mentioned that there was an actual substance called promethium that I hadn't heard of before. So it's got the symbol PM with an atomic number of 61. I'm sure I had to memorize this at some point in school and I forgot about it. But it was interesting that they
a number connected to the sun, God. 61. It's a big number connected to the sun, though.
I mean, it makes sense because
what is it? Extremely
Prometheus
rare
was the firebringer. So it's supposed to only be used for research purposes, but I did a little bit more look into it. The thing that stood out to me is that they named it because they wanted to symbolize the daring and possible misuse of mankind's intellect. And the practical uses of promethium originally was it was kind of like tritium before tritium got big. And that tritium, for anyone that has like a handgun, it's the paint that they can use on your as you're aiming, so that you don't have to have like an actual light. Usually they're extra expensive. You'll spend like anywhere between $80 to $200 for a little tritium sight for your front sight. And this is that all it needs to do is just get a little bit charged, and it's like beyond glow in the dark. It'll retain its glow for years. Yeah, exactly. So apparently so promethium would last somewhere around, I think they said like 12 years. And then that got replaced by tritium. Tritium's supposed to last around 20 years. That's what most people might have in their front sights now. And then tritium got replaced by something called Nova Luna, which lasts even longer than all of those. But essentially that's what promethium is. It's a slightly older version of tritium.
You want to know something else about 61? Okay, so like QAnon, right? That bullshit equals 666 and 60. It's 666, 3 ciphers, 61 and 201, like event 201. And remember the capital shit on 61, a QAnon supporter wrapped in a Trump flag, assassin is 61, active shooter is 61, I believe. And she was wrapped in a Trump flag, assassinated by an active shooter. Game of Thrones, season 6, episode 1, Jon Snow's murdered. Remember, they stabbed him to death. In Assassin 61. So there's that energy to that 61 number too, but it's heavily connected to the sun. So very interesting.
Well, this whole movie and the Prometheus is essentially the light bringer, Lucifer, bringing fire down to humanity, bringing light down to humanity. It's this perpetual story that they keep retelling. And honestly, the things that blew my mind the most was that blood of God scene that you wouldn't even know without that behind the scenes footage. The Gog Magog thing, honestly, that one blew my mind. One of the biggest ones, because I've looked into the Phoenician and Canaanite gods before and the links to the modern, and I never put those two together. And I also had no idea that Prometheus Rising was so heavily influenced by Aleister Crowley, and then you've got the link between H.R. Geiger and Crowley. And if I had a nickel for every time that Aleister Crowley popped up in research unexpectedly, like we wouldn't have to have jobs. You know what I mean? We could just do this all day.
Yeah, they loved him, didn't they? I mean, they literally worshipped the shit out of that dude, Aleister Crowley. He was a sodomite. And remember, he said he was set. Dude, he got kicked out of like 5 countries. I mean, for the ritual shit he was doing. And he said the best energy to harvest was a prepubescent young boy, which they would do these Key of Solomon rituals to, which is sodomy. And that's why we see the whole when kids get the black eyes, we know what they call it. I ain't going to say that word because they'll hit us on the algorithm. But that's a sodomy ritual they do to them poor babies at a young age. It's called the Key of Solomon. And it releases the Kundalini up to 33 vertebrae prematurely. It's used in trauma-based mind control to program them, put in alter egos. It shatters that little butterfly, which then is each shattered fragment is a programmable alter ego, but it bursts the capillaries in their eyes. That's why they get the 2 black eyes. These people are, and it's part of sex magic. They're in
and then the military version of that is just Project Monarch. That's essentially Crowley magic interpreted by Sidney Gottlieb and maybe Dr. Louis Joyton West, Jolly West, and then that makes its way into technology. And then before you know it, maybe it'll just be nanobots that are doing the sodomy.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, dude, it's the most craziest shit. And they think they are enlightened beings. You know, they think this is it. The shit they're doing is perfectly normal. I mean, it's kind of crazy. I could never hurt a child. I don't know how someone does that. Like, you got to be a real scumbag to hurt a kid. Let me show you something, bro. This video, I cried. I ain't gonna lie. I can act tough all I want, but when I watch this shit, I cried. And you will never see a video, guys, like this that is this real. It's over here. Okay. It's right on TommyTruthful.com right here. And I put warning graphic. It is about 10 minutes long. It shows you organ harvesting. This little girl, they lay her on a tub. She's crying for her mom. They're going to chop her up and take her fucking organs. They got all these dead bodies. And then they're going in there and cutting slabs of meat off of them, bro. Like, selling it to the food industry, which it's the craziest shit you'll ever see. You guys, if you haven't watched this video, I'm telling you, though, be very careful, because that can affect you. You know, watching something that graphic, and it fucked me up for like 2 days. I couldn't even believe the shit I seen. I was shocked.
This is nuts. I got another Prometheus link here, right? Because in the original story of Prometheus, he was punished for bringing fire down to man by, giving technology to man. His punishment was that every single day an eagle would come and it would rip his liver out. And the liver is your biggest internal organ. It's also what a lot of the ancients, you can see it in like modern Rosicrucian studies, but even the ancients, they considered the liver is where your astral body resided. And that the liver is where pretty much all of your energy kind of came from the liver. It flowed from the liver. It's why it was called the liver. That's why the word live is in it, is that this is where your life essence would be stored and then dispersed throughout the rest of your body. So this ritual of this eagle coming down and taking out your internal organs, your liver, basically stealing your astral body over and over again, I feel like that probably plays into some of what you're talking about.
Well, it's getting real. Look, Paranoid American keeps going out. Hold on a second, guys. I don't know what's going on here. How did it do this?
We're both doing local
good,
recording
Paranoid?
too, so yeah, I'm good now.
Bro, once I showed that video, every other word you try to say, they skipped it. So you were talking about Prometheus, how the eagle would come down and rip out his liver, and every day.
The eagle would rip out his liver, and this happened every day. His liver would grow back. The eagle would come back the next day, rip out his liver again. That was just his punishment for eternity, essentially. He gets out of it eventually. That's a different story, though. But the liver in ancient studies, particularly Rosicrucian modern studies, that's the source of your life essence. It's where your astral body resides. It lives in your liver. So to take someone's liver is to take their astral body away from them. So I think that kind of directly relates to what you're talking about. And this organ harvesting, it might not just be for kooky, backwoods Chinese magic. It might actually be some people that believe that the astral body lives in certain organs, and that's why they're trying to extract this. And it's supposed to raise all the way through your body, and like you said before, like up the kundalini, up to the pineal gland. It's known by many different names, and not everyone refers to it within the kundalini context, but it's the exact same concept. I think the Rosicrucians call it a silver cord, and the silver cord represents this astral body. And when you go to sleep or when you die, that silver cord gets kind of disconnected from you. And that's when these others, right? You were talking about the others. When that silver cord gets snipped is when they can jump into your body and take over it. And this has been hinted at by so many different writings. It goes all the way back to Rene Descartes, I think, mentioned talking about possibly losing his body or being afraid to lose his body to one of these other souls. And what happened to him is he basically goes crazy in his final days and just spouts gibberish. And it almost feels like he might have lost it to one of these others.
Yeah. You know, when you astro project, you got to be very careful, because that's when them entities can, you know, jump into you. But yeah, bro, they are attacking my computer right now, so I don't want to mess up the end of this, because this was an amazing podcast. We did 2 hours and 8 minutes right now, so we'll end it, guys. Again, all the links are in the descriptions. Make sure you guys go check out Paranoid American's website. He's got amazing stuff over there. He did all the artwork in the intro, and paranoidamerican.com. Do you know your YouTube link?
It's just youtube.com/paranoidamerican. It'll bring you right to my channel.
Yeah.
If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that now. I need to get over 1,000, and I can start releasing some fire with you.
Yeah. So you go subscribe to him, guys, and don't forget, go subscribe to my new YouTube channel. The old one's gone. Truthful TV 369.
Fourth time's the charm, right?
Yeah. Fifth time this year.
This year alone, yeah.
Yeah. This will be the fifth one. So we love y'all. Thank you, guys. Later, my brother Travis. You guys have a great night. Knowledge is power. TommyTruthful.com.